Welcome, friends, for this postscript. The program ended in the morning, now we're having a postscript for that. That means we remembered afterwards. No, we didn't remember afterwards. It was just a surprise for me. Some people say, I give them surprises. Today you have given me a surprise. They're all waiting here. What I would like to emphasize is that when perfect living masters give us initiation, they become friends forever. They're not only masters forever, friends forever. It's a big thing. You experience their love and experience their friendship in everything you do. Because we see them in human bodies, and we have, so many of us take advantage of a particular master. We can't have the same physical proximity to them. But we have an internal proximity. Internal proximity means when we remember somebody, when you remember a friend, it is like the friend is with us. And especially if we find that the language that we need to speak with a friend like that is telepathic language. That means we can think of something and get answers to the same thing that we're thinking of, or correspond, or conversation telepathically. People write to me letters. This is my question. Next day, I have not had a chance to say anything. Reply comes, thank you for the answer. I know the question they have asked in writing. I don't know the answer, but they got the answer already. This is the relationship that is like this. Some people come to me and say, tell us the answer. I say, where is the question? You know everything. Now, I don't know what to say. I have to make a guess. What kind of question are they asking? I don't know the question. I don't know what answer to give. I say, yes, that will. Thank you. I haven't even completed the sentence, they got the answer. The relationship between a disciple and a master is very different. It's a continuous relationship. We can, if we remember the master, do meditation regularly, master will be with us, felt by us all the time. It's like we don't need the physical presence when the other presence is automatically there. Mind creates doubt. Is this master, or is it my mind making it up? Is the master's answer, or just my mind is making it my master's answer? To prevent this mind interfering with the conversation that masters have with us inside, masters during initiation give us a powerful tool to use to prevent the mind from doing this. And that is that the words they use, the words they give us to use as Simran, as a mantra, to repeat, are empowered at the time of initiation, that if those words are repeated by us, the mind cannot make up an answer. The mind cannot make up even a picture of the master. You can imagine the eyes and forehead of a master. If it is made up by the mind, repeat the words, it will disappear immediately. The rest of the body and face look like it's there, not the eyes and the forehead. It cannot be made up by the mind if the words are being repeated. So it's a big safeguard. If you apply the safeguard and have a conversation, master is with you 24/7, all the time. You can always have a conversation, always ask your questions, always get the answers, always express what you feel. The friendship with a master is not an ordinary friendship. Masters will take care of every part of your life. Not only spiritual life, everyday life. Sometimes we feel we have done something wrong. We feel guilty. Masters say, what had to happen, had to happen. It's part of destiny. Don't feel guilty about it. Just don't, if you think it was wrong, don't repeat it. It's over. What's over is over. Don't live in the past, live in the future. Don't live in the past. Don't go back to the past again and again. And masters are always forgiving. I gave examples, told you stories about it. How a man once came, I'll repeat it, a man came to Great Master in one of the evening sessions, where I happened to be sitting amongst a small group of people on a platform on the floor next to Master. His secretaries were sitting there, retired judges, retired financial experts. They were working for him as accountant secretaries in the Dera. They were sitting. A man comes running. Master, forgive me. You told me not to eat meat. You told me not to drink alcohol. You told me not to womanize and lead a good moral life. I did all the bad things last night. I was in bad company. And I could not control myself. I have come to apologize. Please forgive me. And Great Master said, okay, you are forgiven. Don't do it again. And the man said, thank you, and ran away. The secretaries sitting there were surprised. They talked to Great Master. Master, this fellow disobeyed you. He didn't carry out your instructions. And he just come to say, forgive me, and you say, forgiven? He said, yes, he asked for forgiveness. What should I do? Should I not forgive him? They said, Master, but supposing he does the same things again and comes back to you, again says, forgive me. Will you forgive him again? And Great Master said, I think I'll forgive him again. Master, when will you punish him? And Great Master said, that man's mind is punishing him more than anybody else can punish. His guilt is punishing him more. He's remorseful, and that is punishing him right now. Keep me amongst forgivers and not punishers. Perfectly, masters are always forgivers, not punishers. Negative entities, like our mind, they punish us. Masters forgive us. We make mistakes. We can ask forgiveness. Talk to the Master. Repeat the words given by him at initiation and ask forgiveness. You'll get forgiveness. He will say, don't do it again. If you do it again, he'll forgive again. In your life, have you ever decided, this thing I will never do again, and still did it? Please raise your hand if you've done it. No exception, everybody. That's mind. That's our mind. No matter what resolution we pass, the mind can go back. That's why masters are always forgivers. They know this nature of the mind. They know how weak we are. We don't have that strength. That is why they say, to really be on this path, you have to be a warrior, strong. That you have to have the strength to say, okay, Master, forgive me, now I will not do that. If you do it again, this time forgiveness, no more. It makes you stronger when you're able to accept forgiveness. And forgiveness should not only be expected from masters, our life should become one of forgiveness. We should forgive. People are weak. They make mistakes. We also make mistakes. Put yourself in the other person's place. If you are an old person, young person makes a mistake, remember what you did when you were young. Just remember your situation if you were in the same place. You will forgive. Merely putting yourself in the place of the other will make you forgive. So forgiveness is very important. So forgive. forget. Have you heard the phrase, forgive and forget? People say, I can forgive, but I'll never forget. That's not forgiveness. If you're still carrying the revengeful attitude in you, that's not forgiveness. Some people do not get a chance to forgive. They say, somebody hurt me and has gone away. Maybe died. People come to me and tell me that I was very disrespectful to my mother. I hurt her many times. I did not know she'd die so early. If she was living, I would go to her and ask forgiveness. She is dead. What can I do now? I am carrying this huge guilt on my mind. I can't forgive. I said, you can still forgive. You can forgive at any time. Just in your inner form, ask for forgiveness. If you don't know how to convey it to your mother, Master will do it for you. Forgive. We carry so much burden on our minds by not forgiving. And goes on with us. Forgive everybody. It's not worth carrying on that karma with you. Forgiveness ends it. And carrying it with you, not forgiving, keeps it alive and keeps on going from lifetime to lifetime. Therefore, forgive. I am suggesting this because I want your burden of karma to be lightened as much as possible. Don't stretch it more. Forgiveness will help you. Forgive your enemies. Forgive those who hurt you. Forgive them. Forgiveness is a very high quality. So that is why Master set an example of this by forgiving us. Masters tell us some things internally and externally. That's for us. We can meet a master in a group and think his teaching is for everybody the same thing. No. A relationship between a disciple and a master is one-on-one. It's an internal relationship. Master says something to X, Y should not follow it. Y should have own instructions. Masters can see much more of our life than we can see. So that is why when they give an instruction or an answer to a question, it can be different answer for different people. Once again, I remember in Great Master's time, a father brought his daughter. Teenage, grown-up girl. He said, Master, my daughter's grown up and we want to marry her, but she wants to go to college. Should we marry her or should we send her to college? Great Master said, what's the difference between boys and girls? If boys can go to college, so can girls. Send her to college. The father said, thank you, thank you. Girl was very happy. They both went away. Within 15 minutes, another father comes with a girl, just in the same situation. And he said, Master, my daughter is grown up and we want to marry her and she wants to go to college. Great Master said, what have girls to do with college? They should run the house. They have to be household, leader of the house. They have to run the household. Marry her. Two different answers in identical situations to two different father and daughter who came to. We heard that. Master could see the different karma, the same different patterns in which they were placed and what was the best for them. So that is why do not think that the answer given to somebody else applies to you. And I'm specially saying this because people read a book called Spiritual Gems, letters written by Great Master to his disciples. And they read, this was the answer, I am following it. Not meant for you. How can you follow it? If you really want to study it carefully, I will show you any number of letters in Spiritual Gems where he is giving different advice to different people in the same book. Those were given to those individuals according to their circumstances. So merely following a book, this is meant for me, has no value. You must follow the directions you can receive from a master. In our days, it was very difficult to contact the master. We had to travel all the way to see him and get answers. If we wrote a letter, it took a long time, several days for the master's reply to come. We had to wait for it. In Baba Jamal Singh's time, I know some of you have heard the story that Baba Jamal Singh was a disciple of Seth Shivdayal Singh Swamiji of Agra. Jamal Singh lived in Punjab. Swamiji was operating from Agra, another state. Quite a distance in those days to travel. And one day, Jamal Singh felt he was missing his master so much. He wanted to have his darshan. He wrote a letter to his master Swamiji. He said, "Beloved master, beloved Swamiji, I miss you too much. I want to come and have your darshan to see you. Please tell me when I can come." Waited for a month. It took a month for a reply to come. And his master wrote to him, "Beloved son Jamal Singh, very happy to receive your letter. I am very happy to know your soul is roaming around in the higher regions." Jamal Singh said, "My soul is going nowhere. Who is the letter meant for? Obviously not meant for me. And I asked for time to go and see him. He is writing about soul roaming in higher regions." He wrote another letter. He said, "Beloved master, I received your letter, it is not meant for me. You have written, your soul is roaming around, my soul is roaming nowhere. It's stuck here. I am missing you. I want to come and have your darshan, see you. Please tell me when I can come." After a month waiting, reply comes, "Dear beloved Jamal Singh, I am very happy to receive your letter and to know that your soul is roaming around in higher regions. So far as coming to see me is concerned, you can come in the first week of next month." He said, "These letters are not really meant for me. There is some misunderstanding somewhere." He carried those two letters with him and went in the first week to meet his master. Now remember, I am talking of Baba Jamal Singh, master of Baba Sawan Singh, my master. I am telling about his life. He took those letters and went to Agra. And Swamiji was sitting with 10-15 people around him. And he said, "Welcome, Jamal Singh." And Jamal Singh says, "Master, these are your letters to me. The both letters you say my soul is roaming around in higher regions, it has never gone anywhere. I was just missing you. I'm so happy to see you. I came for that." Swamiji said with a smile, "Let us go and meditate a little inside the hut." So the 14-15 people are sitting outside and Swamiji and Baba Jamal Singh go inside the hut. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, half an hour, they were inside and came out. And Swamiji asked Jamal Singh, "Now tell Jamal Singh, when I wrote that letter to you, was your soul roaming around in the higher regions of consciousness?" And Jamal Singh said, "Yes, master." He said, "I am not asking you whether your soul was roaming around when we were in meditation now. I am asking you whether your soul was roaming around at the time when I wrote those letters." He said, "Yes, master, it was roaming around at the time you wrote those letters." That surprised the people sitting there. So he addressed them. He said, "Soul's ascent inside is not always visible to us. We are blindfolded. Masters very often blindfold us from what is happening inside for the simple reason it helps us to carry out our obligations with our karma outside better. Otherwise, it becomes difficult when you are seeing something inside. Our attention does not work the same way in carrying out karmic obligations outside. So very often, the blindfold is put on. You go somewhere with blindfold and you can hear the sound, you can know what kind of place it is. Next time your blindfolds are off. I have been here. Deja vu. I have been here. I know it. That's what happened. And Swamiji explained that what is a sign? While blindfolded, what's a sign that the soul is making progress? Sign is how much you're missing the Master. How was he missing the Master so much if nothing was happening inside? The missing, that feeling of separation, the pangs of separation, wanting to be together, that's coming only if there is a spiritual ascent taking place inside. So now this is with Baba Jaimal Singh. So that is why one should not forget that when you are feeling that you love the Master, you miss him, tears come into your eyes, you remember Master, something is happening somewhere else. But you are also carrying out your duties, obligations in this physical world created by your own karma. It's important to remember that the missing and remembering Master is a sign of progress. The great Master once told me, meditation does not take us inside. Surprise! Every day he's telling meditate, meditate, and one day he says, meditation does not take us inside. Meditation is like a thermometer. A thermometer does not give you fever. It measures fever. Meditation does not take you inside. Love and devotion takes you inside. Meditation measures it, how far you've gone inside. A big statement. That the emphasis CPS was on the real thing, real nature of the spiritual path, love and devotion. Meditation is just one of the instruments to know what progress you are making. So meditation, if not done with love and devotion, becomes hollow. I told you a story of a friend of mine. I think some of you remember it. Some may not have heard it. There was a friend of mine named Hira Singh. He and I were both initiated about the same time by Great Master. He lived in a town in Punjab called Ludhiana, and he had a foundry there, a kind of factory, and he had a big house, a big lawn, big courtyard in front. Great Master visited his house, held a discourse in his house. Other masters also came. Many masters, different lineages, different lines would come to his house. Very devoted disciple of Great Master. I took my friend who came today. He was here. I took him with me to India. And he said, I want to see the places which were most significant for you. I took him and showed him where I was initiated. I showed him where Master would sit and all historical places. And then I said, I will take you to one of my colleagues who was also initiated, and Masters come to his house. And I went to the house of Hira Singh in Ludhiana. As it happened, when we reached there, one Master was giving a discourse. And about 100 people were sitting in that lawn in front of the dais. He set up a high place for Master to discourse from. And that Master I knew very well. So when I and my friend arrived, Master saw us from a distance and he waved to us to come close. So I walked up to him and I said, please finish your satsang, finish your discourse. I brought a friend to see you and then we'll see you. Master got up, said, discourse finished, satsang finished. My friend was very impressed that I have some influence on this Master. He just ended his satsang. Anyway, we went inside. He invited us to have lunch. And a lot of satsangis there, a lot of followers who knew I was an old disciple of Great Master. They were disciples of new Masters now. They asked me questions. They asked me questions about America. Then they asked questions about spirituality. So I was giving answers as I do now. I was just giving simple answers to simple questions on the spiritual path. And suddenly Hira Singh says to me, I have a question to ask you. I said, yes, Hira Singh, what can I do for you? He said, I want to know that you and I are initiates of the same Master. We got initiation together. He says, I don't know about you, but I have followed the path very rigidly, seriously. I have done meditation 2.5 hours regularly every day. And I have been on a vegetarian diet. I have not touched alcohol or any drugs. I have led a good moral life. I have followed the rules of the game, yet I have seen nothing inside. You seem to have seen something. I said, what makes you think I have seen? I might be even more blank than you. He said, no, the way you answer questions, you must have something. How did you get something? And I did not. What discrimination is this? They are both disciples of the same master, initiated at the same time. I am following the rules. I said, Hira Singh, when you see me answering questions, I don't answer them. It's great master. My master, I consult him. I said, this is the question, what do you say? He gives me the answer. I tell them, people think I am answering. His great master's answers, not mine. He said, then why don't you ask my question also from great master? I said, I will. He said, then close your eyes, whatever you do to ask your master and tell me. I said, master is busy. He is not available just like this to ask any time a question. I have to make an appointment to ask a serious question like yours. He says, how long will it take? I said, it takes about 6 months. It takes 6 months to get an answer from great master. I said, serious question, yes. It's a very serious question. That you have the same initiation, same master, that did all that was required and saw nothing, and I appear to have seen something. At least I appear to find access to great master, to find answers for people's questions. There's some difference. Why is this difference? I said, this is a very serious question. It takes time. Now, I can secretly tell you why I said 6 months. And this is the way we keep secrets, It's called a whisper. Secretly, I was going to visit India next time only in 6 months. Anyway, I came away. My friend was with me. I went to India back in 6 months and went to see him. He was saying, I found the answer. I said, you had gone to so many masters, why didn't you ask the question from them? He said, I asked great master. Master, I'm not making any progress. And what answer did he give? He said, he smiled and said, continue your meditation with love and devotion. I said, other masters have come into your house. Didn't you ask them that no progress is being made? He said, I asked other masters. What did they say? Smiled and said, keep on meditating with love and devotion. I said, now brought an answer from you, from great master. He said, what did great master say? Great master says, tell Hira Singh, continue your meditation with love and devotion. He has given the same answer, not made any change. He said, but that's what I've been doing. I said, not exactly. I checked out. Not exactly. You have been continuing meditation. Forgot the last part of his answer. With love and devotion. That was the secret. You did it mechanically. Mechanical meditation is hollow. Meditation with love and devotion works. The part of meditation that works is love and devotion. I said, your meditation was missing the most essential part. You just counted what the time is, 2.5 hours, not taking this diet, taking this rigidly, following a mental curriculum, as it were. Not love and devotion. Your beloved is waiting to be remembered. You were remembering how to do things, not the beloved. Now do your meditation with love and devotion, and advice given by all masters at all times, including great master. I'll come and check out in 6 months more. I came back to America, and I went after 6 months, went to see him. He was so happy. He made more progress internally in 6 months than he had made in 40 years. So bringing this to your notice that how important it is, This is a path of love and devotion. This is not a mechanical path. Mechanical path, the mechanical side is for the mind. The mind wants it. The mind doesn't understand. How can I have love and devotion? Okay, meditate. Remember Master and meditate. Love and devotion comes. But I have to do something to get something. Meditate 2.5 hours. You want more? 8 hours. Mind loves it. Yes, I know I work hard, I'll get it. Because everything in life I get is by working hard. This also requires hard work, I'll do it. All meditation is for the mind. All meditation, no matter what kind, is done by the mind. Not by our soul or living spirit. Living spirit responds to love. And great master, perfect living masters, take us with love. They pull us with love. That love can be felt by us. Not felt so much by the mind, it's felt by the soul in us. And the pull sometimes we can't explain where it's coming from. And that pull is what really takes us up. I'm glad I came back here to tell you some more things. Now, thank you very much for joining me, and I want to wish you Godspeed, blessings of Great Master. Have your good journeys back safely, and I'll see you again at another event. Thank you very much.